Okay, finally we're going to do the revision concept map. Now when you reach P5 and P6 especially, you'll be getting a A3 handout like this. I know ideally it's not great to use this for a cycle where we are doing distance-based learning. So your handout might have been smaller in an A4 size paper. I'm so sorry for that. If your handout is too small, not to worry. Just label as best that you can. If you want to, you can take another piece of paper and then draw out whatever's important onto that separate piece of paper. For now, moving forward for distance-based learning, we will try not to cover concept maps during these cycles, and you'll start it there again when you get back to regular classes. Okay, so this is just for today. So I'm going to recap. This is what we learned previously. So let's start by recapping how do we label angles, okay? Again, your points will be capital letters, capitalized, and this point here, where the angle is, this is called your vertex. That's the point. Point K is your vertex. Then what is this pointing to? That is your angle. And how do you label angles? With small letters. So take note of the difference. Points are capital letters, angles are small letters. So there are three ways that we can label this particular angle. The first way is just to use whatever they've given, which is angle B, small b. But if they have not labeled this angle, you have to use the points. And you can do it anti-clockwise. J, K, and KL are the true lines, so the angle will be JKL in capital. You can also do it clockwise using the same two lines, LKKJ, so it will be LKJ. Okay, now I want you guys to test yourself on matching the angles to the angles type. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video now. And I want you to try this yourself. Once you're done, press play again for the video to check your answers, okay? I'm going to go through now, but if you haven't finished it, go do it. Go do it. Pause the video. All right? So right angles are the only angles that have a square label. That will be here. All other angles have a rounded label. Okay, we're going to do the easier ones. Again, this is the small angle, the smallest angle. So we always say it's such a cute angle. Acute. Okay, next one is a little bit fatter, kind of like an obese angle. So that's obtuse. I know it doesn't sound exactly the same, but this is just to help you remember. And this one should be pretty straightforward, a straight line for a straight angle. The next larger one is when it looks like an obtuse but is bigger than a straight line like this. That's called a reflex angle. And finally, 360 degrees, one full round is called a full angle. Okay? Next, we're going to recap how to use a protractor to mark out angles. We did this just now for 90 degrees, so now I'm going to recap the scales, okay? Now, especially if you're a parent joining us, you wouldn't have been in class when we go through it, so I'm going to recap. On your protractor, same as these ones, there's an inner and outer scale. The inner scale is the inside numbers. The outer scale is the outside numbers. You must make sure that you must always start from 0. So, because the protractor is drawn on the paper, do not do this all the time. I'm just going to use a highlighter to highlight where AB is drawn, just so we know where to start 0. Now, this is only for questions that the protractor is there and it's very hard to see the line AB, okay? The good thing about my highlighter is that I can erase it later. So if you can't do that with your highlighter, you don't have to draw it on your paper. But my students, if you were attending my class, you would have seen that I use a highlighter for questions that have the protractor on. So AB is here. Now, where is 0? You see at AB there are two numbers. I have this number and this number. Can you see? Yeah? Which one is 0? You have to start from 0 degrees, which is the outer scale. So we're going to follow the bigger numbers, the outer scale, to measure. We want ABC to be 25 degrees. So using the outer scale, go to 25 degrees. It's just right here. Make a small dash. I know you're not removing the protractor in this case, but I just want you to follow the same steps. Please be accurate, pointing exactly at point B, which is the center, until that dot. If it's too long, raise it a little bit. Okay, how do you label your angles? You're supposed to, after you draw the line, step 1, draw the line, step 2, mark the point A, B, C, and then draw the angle. 25 degrees. Make sure that your labeling of angle is pretty near to the circle, the part circle here, not too far off. Okay. Now let's go to X, Y, Z. Okay, again, find X, Y. Mark it out so that you can see where is 0. Again, 0 is the outer scale. We're going to follow it to 164 now. So 0, 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way until 160. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a small dash. Go from exactly point Y to that dash. Label the point, X, Y, Z. Label the angle. Take note, the angle is drawn from XY to YZ, not here, okay? Do not use the baseline as your angle. Also to check, any angles between 0 to 90 would be acute angles. Any from 90 degrees, between 90 degrees and 180 degrees, that should be an obtuse angle. So using this part here, if your 164 doesn't look like an obtuse angle, then you know you've got it wrong. You are using the wrong scale, so you should redo it. Now, why is it so important for me to highlight? You will see that in question 3, because CD is on the right side now. So you'll need to use 0 degrees on the inner scale. You see the difference now? On the outer scale, it's 180 degrees. You're not supposed to use that. Use the small scale and go to 38. And then draw to point D, C, D, E, and then 38 degrees. Okay, so now I think some of you might be commenting, my revision concept map is too small, I can't do these. It's okay. It's okay if your paper is too small. For now, just listen to me as I recap so that you will be able to revise. But you can always do this on another day when we are encountering geometry, drawing of angles again. Okay, so don't worry if you're just listening, that's fine. Okay. Now we go to angle properties, so you can join us again. The angle of any rectangle or square is 90 degrees. This is only for squares. Only for squares. If you draw a diagonal through the square, this will be half of 90 degrees, which is 45. If you draw a diagonal through rectangles, it will not be accurate to 45 degrees because the length and breadth are not equal. You can only do so because the length and breadth are equal here. Okay, now this is what we did just now. So I'm just going to recap this again. In the square grid below, PQ is a straight line. Now look how PQ crosses the square grid. So So I'm going to draw across here and across here. Okay, it goes from P to Q, right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up 1, 2. So it's given a 5-2 kind of pattern. So to draw the next two lines, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. The same pattern. And then after I finish drawing one line, use your set square and check if it's a perfect right angle. Okay, so this one is. So I've known that I've drawn the correct line. So do the same thing here. So just now we followed an L shape this way. So I'm going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Okay. Oh no, you see, I'm not very accurate here. So I'll need to erase this line. I'm going to try again to be more accurate. From here to the corner. Yeah. Okay, so if you're ever inaccurate, just do that. Make sure you've marked out your right angles. There's actually more to label than this. So not only must you mark out your letters, you have to check 4 points, right? Your letters, your right angles, that's step 2. Okay, they missed out one thing. Do you remember? That's your equal sides. And then, if there's measurements, you write down your measurements, but for this particular question, we don't. So let's move on. Okay, we're going to cover a recap on what we did on session 1, which is your compass and cardinal points. Label the cardinal and intercardinal points. So the main 4 cardinal points will be north, east, south, and west. So remember the mnemonic that I used, naughty elephant spray water. You can have your own mnemonic, like never eat soggy waffles. And then we're going to do the intercardinal points, which is northeast. Between north and east is northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. Okay. Let's move on to relative directions. Okay. For this one, you need to look for the word after off. Off is your keyword, or from. So, off, off. What I've highlighted here, this is your starting point. So what do I refer to as the starting point? Where your compass will be. So in the first question, what point is south of A? So you imagine you're standing at A holding a compass, and then you look at the southern direction. Okay, how do you know south is this way? You follow this compass here, naughty elephant spray water. Okay, so that is point C. Next, what direction is F from B? So I've highlighted B as the starting point. So again, use a pencil for your diagram so you can always erase and then you won't have so many markings on it. So we imagine that we're standing at B holding the compass and we want the direction of F. That's this direction here, which is southeast. Okay, now what happens here? You need to start at a point that you don't know where it is, but we know that the E is in the northeast direction, so we can put some sketching here. Northeast is here, right? So wherever point that we are starting, E will be in the northeast direction. So we're going the opposite direction now. We're going backwards. So if this is northeast and we're going this direction, that means we're going southwest. So what you have to do is find the southwest direction from E, and it will look like your sketch here. So go, in order to find intercardinal points, it must be definitely from corner to corner of the square grid. because it must be perfectly diagonal. Okay, and that's the starting point C. Just to double check that it matches your sketch, if I was at C and drawing the compass, it will go in the northeast direction. Okay, last one, northwest of point D. Okay, so we're at D, we draw our compass in the northwest direction, that's this way. Again, it must be perfectly diagonal from corner to corner, and that's A. So we're done. Okay, I know this video is kind of long, so if any of you are feeling tired, you want to pause this video, go ahead and pause this video, take a short 1-minute break, and then come back to refer to this. Okay, now we go to rotations. So clockwise means to turn this way, okay? If you remember in my previous video, I told you point at the ceiling, then point to your right, then point down. So clockwise means to start turning rightwards. So if you're right-handed, just know which way is clockwise. Anti-clockwise means to turn obviously in the opposite direction. So turn left. Andy is facing southwest. Okay, so let's label in our diagram, naughty elephants. Spray water. Southwest would be here. And then he turns 135 degrees. Okay, what is 135 degrees? That is made up of 90 degrees and 45 degrees. So how do you do that? To get perfect 90 degrees, I would have to go to this intercardinal point here. This is 90 degrees. And then another 45 degrees in the clockwise direction. Okay, so he will face north. Okay, last bit, we're almost there. This part you should know, a quarter of a turn is 90 degrees. And then half a turn would be another 90 degrees, which is 180 degrees. 3/4, another 90 degrees. And a whole turn will of course be 360 degrees. Ben is facing south. Okay, take note, this compass now looks different. South would be this way. It makes a 3/4 turn in anti-clockwise direction. So now I have my right angles nicely drawn for me, so I don't need to draw any intercardinal points. 1 right angle, 2 right angles, 3 right angles. Yeah, anti-clockwise direction. And then it will be facing west. And we are done. So after this is just homework. So continue to refresh the page, and we're almost done with today's lesson. I know today's lesson might have been a little bit longer because we had more things to cover. So thank you for your patience, and for parents who have been with your children next to the computer, thank you very much.